Look at that. Awesome. Oh. Question of the day. Got bait molds? Well, we do today. And not just any bait mold. We have, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we have a very, very new, fresh, aluminum, open pore Swimbait mold from Angling AI Molds. Those guys right there. And to say I'm excited is an understatement. I've been bugging Josh for the last few months while this has been in development. Hey man, any update, any update, any update? And it was really fun to watch. It was really great to have some input on the project and get to share my ideas. And we have something awesome. Josh really put in the work, of course, and I cannot wait to show you this mold and demo it. I have not poured anything in it. They just got off the mail truck. This is a brand new Swimbait. It's brand new DNA. It's not a continuation of the one before. It's not a different version of that. It's a brand new bait. All new DNA from the ground up, and I'm super, super excited. Let's go check out what we are calling the AI G-5 mold, because it's 5.1 bait. Let's go check her out. Okay, here we go. I'm talking G-5. Some of you may know that from Tropic Thunder. All right, so let's unveil it. Oh, yes. Okay, so immediately we see there again how I'm choosing to describe it is all new DNA. Okay, so it is 5.1 inches in the mold. All right, so that's 5.1 inches from the top. It looks a little bit shorter because it keeps going so much further up under it, right? So the head has a lot of three-dimensionality. Simply because it goes so much further into the cavity. And we can talk about some of these details later on as well. You can see the eyeball insert here is really cool. It has sort of an eyebrow and it's milled in, which really created the opportunity to have that tapered eye there. So if we zoom in, you can see there's sort of a taper around that eye, which creates a sort of an eyebrow. Really, really beautiful features here in the head, and in it basically has a face now. We can see pectoral fin here, and then something I'm particularly excited for is this little anal fin back here. Look at that. So the tail, okay, is largely, I guess, designed after the riprap tail. So it's a very different tail. There again, all new DNA, a very new bait. Beautiful sort of angled scaling pattern. It's a very deep cut scaling pattern, which is going to display color really well. So if you think about a laminate line kind of going down your bait across this angled, very deep scale pattern, it's going to give you a lot of depth and illusion to how it displays color. So I'm really, really looking forward to actually pouring a bait in this. Now the actual eyeball that you would use is 6 millimeters. So even though it's a 5-inch bait, the way that the head tapers and with the eyebrow ridge, the size that looked proportionate came out to be 6 millimeters. So a lot of us are already using 6 millimeter eyes. So it's not an oddball eyeball size. It's something that you're already going to have. And yeah, I cannot wait to check it out. And one thing about it is it uses the same exact hook slot insert as the current 5-inch Swimbait mold. So just to do a little bit of compare and contrast, here is the current AI Swimbait mold. This is the DNA that we all know and love. Okay, fits a 8 millimeter eye. Okay, and so here is the new DNA. So you can see there just a very different bait altogether. Yeah, so this is really neat. Okay, so whenever sort of the profile and some of the three-dimensionality drawing was done, and you can think of that as like a rough draft, right? Let's say you're writing a paper, you're going to write a rough draft at first, okay? So here is the rough draft. You can see it literally says version 1, okay? So this is basically how a lot of molds start. They start as just a shape, just some generic scaling just put in there. You know, there's nothing even for the eyeball yet. As you can see, the tail went largely unchanged throughout the versions. The new version, I think he said, was actually a little bit smaller than this. So this was the first one. And this was basically just to establish do we like the shape? Do we like the taper? And does it swim? Very important just to figure out, hey, is the thing going to work? Will it make a functional bait that does what we want it to? All right, so moving on, version 2, okay? Now he's starting to play with the eyeball idea. You can see the milled in eyeball, and you can see that ridge, which sort of creates that eyebrow. You can see that the machining on this one, a little bit rougher, and part of that is probably refining tool paths as you keep cutting test molds. So we can see largely the same as version 1, just now really trying to figure out an eyeball that's going to work. And I'm sure he knows what all the other changes are. But here we have version 3, and this one is largely a finished product. There again, we can see sort of the finished eyeball. We have all the fin features, scaling features, all of the head and face features, the gill plates, all that. I think the difference between this one and the ultimate final one is actually tooling related in terms of how the tool paths were going to be. I think between this version and the final version, he cleaned up, I guess, how the bait was going to be machined to try to reduce machine time and just sort of refine some details. And I think he did make a small change to the tail in terms of overall size. And of course, a hot new mold like this deserves good plastisol. So Dead On Plastics sinking blend Swimbait is our weapon of choice. So let's give that a nice little stir. This is how a good bait starts right here, is with your raw materials. All right. Now, normally I take the bolts out, but because we only have 2 cavities here to work with, we'll just kind of leave them in. Once I get more cavities of this mold, I will obviously, clamp them together. But that right there is what we're working with. All right, so normally, and I guess nowadays, I pour a green color shift shad with just a clear belly, but to sort of throw it back to its original recipe, we're going to put a small smidge of blue highlight in the belly, which again, I really want to see how the mold wears these different powders and effects. So just a little bit of blue highlight, just for old time's sake. Okay, so I'm looking at the molds, and I think I want the belly color just poured to below the top of that hook slot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to start the belly, if I can do this on camera, I'm actually going to start my belly pour in the tail. That way I guarantee that it fills in that little anal fin. I'm going to have to move the camera slightly. And then we're going to bring our plastic down and pour it into the head. So let me try to do this on camera. There we go. Now I'm going to bring it down. Okay. That was sort of sloppy doing this around the camera. But this way I can control how high I pour it up the belly. Just basically to the underside of the kill dot. Okay, so there is our 24 karat dead shift, 24 karat dead shift. 2 drops of black will sort of take some of the orange look out of it, right? So see how it kind of looks reddish orange? This will actually dull that and make it more of a traditional gold, which is sort of the effect that I like. Okay. So adding a drop or 2 of black to any powder base can alter it and sometimes make it look more like you want, depending on what your desired effect is. Okay, time to pour the veins, and this will be a little bit tricky because number 1, it's a mold I don't know, and number 2, the eyeball insert, or well, it's not inserted anymore, but the eyeballs are up under there a little bit, so I'm gonna have to really try to peek in and pour this very carefully to try to get my veins to stop where I want to up in that eyeball, which is difficult in any mold. But whenever you're pouring something new and you can't quite see everything as well, you definitely want to try to pour things carefully. So that's how we're gonna do it. And it's almost there. Okay, it looks like it just got to the eyeball. So we're just gonna hope that it doesn't go too far. But hey, growing pains, right? New mold, new challenges. You know, learning how high to pour the bellies and, you know, how to pour the veins. Yep, that one's gonna go way too far. Oops. And there's the beautiful ZTG Hypershift. 1 drop of black. Oh, almost did 2 by accident. 1 drop of black. Let's go ahead and set that off. Yeah. Beautiful. It's got a nice kind of green to blue shift. And makes a really, really great top color for any shad. All right, here we go. Topping off the first ever one of these. Sorry about all the glare. Look at that. Beautiful. There it is. Alright, there's one. Let's see if we can get 2. See if we can change the focus. Generally speaking, if you can do 1, you can do 2. We'll find out. Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's do the first ever reveal for the G-5. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Alright. The mold has officially been broken in. It's been drum rolled on. It's still a little bit hot, so we're going to glove up to do the first reveal here. So, let's see what side we think it's going to come out on. Alright, that side. Well, okay, we think that side. There we go, that side. Come on, baby. Come out. Just don't want to pull too hard. Oh yeah, okay. Right on. Here, let's get it over here. Maybe try to get the tail back in there. Yeah. Okay, so first initial thoughts. We could have poured the belly a little higher up, which would have brought the vein a little higher up on it, if that makes sense. Right? So if we look closely, and I'm just critiquing my own work here, not necessarily the mold. That vein's a little low, right? If we look at where that vein is, the center of the eye is a little bit higher. So it could have been a little bit higher up. Obviously, stopping it right there in the eye socket's going to take some work, going to take some practice. But I love how I was able to pour the belly color down into the anal fin by pouring that first. Let me get some better lighting on this thing. Yeah, check it out. So there it is by itself. That's how the bait is going to look in hand. Golly, just look at that. Yep, here's a little belly slot view. Yeah. Look at that. Top view there. Whew, it's windy today. My gosh, we got a cold front blowing in. Alright, so off camera, I went ahead and poured another set. And I think these are going to be a little bit better. You know, the whole idea is to try to learn from the first pours right there. So I believe I poured the belly a little bit higher, and I know my veins were poured with a lot more control this time. So one thing I'm really admiring here is how the eye is reset in there with sort of that eyebrow. Really cool. And again, just here's a few more shots here of just some of the profiles. You know, looking at it from different angles, of course. Yeah, really great. All right, everybody. So ever since I saw the first profile drawing of this bait, particularly the head, you know, one thing that Josh really wanted to do was to make the head as realistic and three-dimensional as possible, so that the head didn't really look like it was an open pore head, right? And I think he hit the nail on the head. Get it? However, as soon as I saw this kind of overall profile and really saw the bait coming together, and after discussing it, the first thing I thought was, I really want to see this in a trout pattern. So here comes a skin-pored rainbow trout. And just real quick, like I mentioned earlier, version 3 and version 4 did have a small difference in the tail size. So just to show you that real quick, there's sort of that tail size. So this was the final version essentially until he scaled the tail back. So this one right here is actually the one that you'll get. Okay, this will be my first skin pour attempt in the G-5. So we basically just want to cover the head and the gill plate in this color. So we're just going to pour it in, let it run about here, let it run up there. Alright, yeah, so that's essentially what we're doing. Alright, let it run a little bit more that way. I think that looks pretty good. And now for the other side, let's go. I like to start with the green pumpkin up in the head first. That way my pink layer runs under it technically. Alright, now for the tricky part. We just want to kind of pour in our pink layers here. And I like to kind of do it in, I guess, sort of like a wavy pattern. That's just kind of how I've always kind of done that. Alright, yeah. Generally speaking, whenever I'm pouring my skin layers, I really want to pour the plastic like syrup. And to me, that just gives me a little bit more time and control to kind of blend and layer color like I want. Perfect. Alright, time to pour some bellies. And I'm not pouring a vein here, so I'm not as concerned with how high up they go. I just want to make sure that the white pearl goes down into the little anal fin. So we're just going to kind of let it rip here, and this is just straight white mica powder. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. So we're going to kind of let that even out and sort of see where that gets us. I'm going to go ahead and do the other cavity over here. So again, just gonna kind of go with it. There we go. All right, let's try it. Here we go. We're gonna pour it cold like syrup. That way we maintain good flake suspension. Alright, there it is. Okay, I am feeling good about these trout, so let's give them a drum roll. Drum roll, please. Alright. Mold is still a little bit hot, but I don't care. Woo! Woo! I am ready for action here. Gosh dang. Alright, let's... Woo! Okay. You know what? We're just going to have to do it fast. Here we go. Let's just rip the band-aid off. Oh, yeah. There it is. Yes. I love the way the scale pattern kind of obscures, right? Because it's so deep. There's just a lot of depth there. It kind of obscures somewhat where those color gradients happen. And to me, that gives it an incredible sense of depth and realism. Wow. And there's the other one. I went ahead and popped an eye in just so that you can see an eyeball. Yeah. And I love how you can just kind of see the subtle pink that, oops, that goes up under the gill plate there, because the pink was poured up under it. And that's something that you'll really be able to see in natural light outside. You know, here under artificial light, it's a little bit different. Oops. Look at that, guys. Okay, so here it is on a Gamakatsu size 6 Superline weighted swim bait hook with the screw lock. Rigs beautifully there. So now let's check her out in the water. All right, let's try to get some good swim footage for you guys. All right, now let's try it again, but a little bit zoomed in, a little bit closer to the action. One more time. Oh, that's beautiful.
New swim bait.
Man, I wish I'd had it on camera.
Well, you do.
Well, yeah.
You'll have to just get it off of mine. That's great.
Look at that.
Look at that. New swim bait.
All right, so we have video evidence on my dad's cell phone that this just happened. I kid you not. I didn't even bring another bait except for that one. I don't even have anything else I could have caught this on. Look at that. He creamed it.
He sure did.
He absolutely. Here, go ahead and take him off. Yeah. Creamed it, guys. Little 2-pounder.
2-pounder.
Yeah, look at that. The green color shift shad gets it done. All right, here's that swim bait fish. Absolutely smoked it. So there is footage on my dad's phone and they actually reeling it in. So I will try to get that footage off his phone. Yeah. G-5, baby. All right, there's the first ever catch on the G-5 on the new bait. Let's let her go, or let him or her go. Awesome. All right, everybody, this has been awesome, absolutely awesome. I've been absolutely drooling for the last few months at getting the thought of getting my hands on this mold. We finally got it. We got to show it to you guys. It's my honor to get to present this mold and kind of reveal it for the first time. We got some great colors poured, and I got absolutely smacked. That 2-pounder absolutely smacked it. That's the first bass I've gotten to catch in a while, so that felt great on many levels. Super exciting to see one of my best colors produce a fish on the new bait. I gotta say, the G-5 swims awesome. It looks great in the water, and obviously the fish approve, so what more can you say? So yeah, a couple more thoughts. The mold will be $99. I'll put a link in the description so that you can check it out. Obviously, over the next few weeks, we'll be pouring a lot more examples. You'll see a lot more of this mold. A couple other people are going to have it in their hands real soon. So we're going to see lots of great things happen in this mold, which as a bait maker, I'm excited for. And for those of you who have stuck around this far to the end of the video, I'll give you a little hint, a little bit of secret information here. The next size in the G5 is going to be the G4. They're going even smaller. Now it will likely not be exactly 4 inches. You know, the G5 is technically 5.1. However, the next version is going to be even smaller. So I'm really excited to check that out, and that'll be coming at some point down the road. AI is busy with a lot of cool projects. A lot of fun things are about to happen. So keep your eye on them, and keep your eye on us. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I gotta make this turn, and we will see you guys later.